Hi, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
And this is Northwest Brew Talk. Welcome to Northwest Brew Talk, episode number 58. Each and every week we promote the Washington brewing industry by talking to those people involved and drinking Washington beer. With over 300 breweries, we try to highlight as many as possible every single episode. If you're new to the show, we suggest you check out our back catalog with some wonderful interviews and lots of Washington beer. This week we have an interview with Lake Tapps Brewing, our brew news, and local music from Silver Torches.
And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to send us an email at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at nwbrewtalk and on Facebook at facebook.com/nwbrewtalk. If you like the show and want to support us, share our link and tell your friends on social media. It takes just a few to start a revolution. To start the show, let's open our first beer.
All right, we've got Galloping Gertie Golden Ale from Narrows Brewing.
Narrows Brewing is located in Tacoma and open 7 days a week. Galloping Gertie is a golden beer with a creamy white foam. The nose has hints of fruit, citrus, and grass. It has a good body, slightly bitter, and herbaceous. It has a clean mouthfeel and invites a second glass. 5.2% ABV, 30 IBUs, with an untapped rating of 3.28.
Okay, what color is that? That is very light.
A straw color, I'd say.
It's straw. Yeah. Oh, got some different malt flavor on that one there. I'm gonna kill our cat.
Can definitely smell the maltiness there.
Yeah, it does have the nice white head on it. But yeah, you can taste the malt on the end there after. That's pretty good. I like that. It's a golden ale. It's a light beer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that malt taste on the end there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's good. Not bad beer. It's got a nice... It is a very light flavor.
Uh-huh.
It is... I'm not sure what you taste there. There's not...
The grass, maybe?
Oh, is it? No, I definitely don't taste grass. I've eaten that before. All right. And now on to our brew news for this week.
Topping this week's news, we mentioned a few weeks ago that Spinnaker Bay Brewing's co-founder, Janet Spindler, was diagnosed with cancer. The brewing community has come out in support of her during this trying time. This past Saturday, a fundraiser was held at Pike Brewing Company to help with the mounting costs. It's not only medical bills, but in her absence, other employees are working more and payroll has increased, putting a burden on the brewery. 100% of beer proceeds went to Spindler, who is halfway through her treatment. We wish her well. On Wednesday, March 9th, a natural gas explosion tore through the Greenwood Avenue neighborhood of Seattle, destroying 3 businesses and damaging dozens more. Flying Bike Cooperative Brewing and Naked City Brewing are both in close proximity, but were spared. On Saturday, March 10th, Naked City held a fundraiser to benefit the Relief Fund. They raised $11,599, including $8,125 in beer sales for the Relief Fund. We wish everyone the best that was affected by this horrible event.
The Washington Cask Beer Festival takes place this Saturday, March 19th. This event features one-of-a-kind handcrafted cask-conditioned beers from over 40 Washington breweries. The event will be at Seattle Center Exhibition Hall, and it's $40 in advance or $45 at the door if there are any tickets left. Admission includes a commemorative glass and samples. It's 21 and over. On March 26th, you can stop in at Whiskey Ridge Brewing in Arlington as they celebrate their first year in their Arlington location. Airways Brewing in Kent announced they will be moving to a new, larger brewery in taproom while staying in Kent. Alex Dittmar, founder and head brewer at Airways, said, quote, "We considered many options on how and where to grow, but after an exhaustive search, we're happy to have found a great space in Kent that will allow us to increase our production as well as provide a better quality experience for our tap room guests." Unquote. Check out our interview with Alex on episode 42. Brewery events are nothing new. There are trivia nights, open mics, comedy, theater. Some breweries have found yoga to be a good fit during their downtime. Another interesting event is Paints and Pints. Several breweries in the state have such events, including Republic Brewing. The event is monthly painting class with an instructor. No experience is necessary, and the fees cover all of the supplies. Paints and Pints in Spokane is not a brewery, but it offers this same experience. So definitely an interesting thing, especially if you want to try some paint while drinking some pints.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Foggy Noggin Brewing in Bothell turned 6 this month. The small brewery run by Jim Jameson has lots planned to celebrate the event, including a vertical tasting of 6 years of their anniversary ale. On Saturday, March 26th from noon to 5, they will be celebrating with release of their 2016 anniversary ale in 22-ounce bottles and on tap and much more. If you like English-style ales and want to drink in the owner's garage/tap room, check it out. The second annual Vancouver Spring Brew Fest takes place this Friday and Saturday, March 18th and 19th at Esther Short Park. They're going to have beer and whiskey as well as food and a free throw contest, and have March Madness on a large screen TV. Bushnell Craft Brewing Company will be hosting its second anniversary party and pig roast this Saturday, March 19th, 2016 at the Bushnell Craft Tap Room in Redmond.
Ravenna is a neighborhood in Seattle that is getting a new brewery. Ravenna Brewing Company will be opening on April 15th at 4 p.m. Owner Tommy Ortega says he's currently expecting to pour his Lion Tamer Bourbon Vanilla Porter, Jalapeno Kolsch, Bang It Out Belgian Pale, Night Night Juice Imperial Red Rye IPA, and Palisade IPA on opening day. Wow. Thanks to Seattle.eater.com for that update. And lastly this week, Cigar City Brewing in Tampa, one of craft beer's leading breweries, is selling controlling interest to Fireman Capital, an equity firm that owns majority stakes in Oscar Blues and several other breweries. Just 2 weeks ago, Cigar City denied AB InBev was going to purchase the brand. And that's it for the Brew News this week.
Welcome back to Northwest Brew Talk. If you want to submit news to Northwest Brew Talk, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. If you've not yet subscribed to our podcast, why not do it now? It's free, available anywhere you listen to podcasts, including iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio.
Now let's talk to Glenn and Craig, the founders of Lake Tapps Brewing. Why don't you guys tell us how Lake Tapps got its start?
Craig? Well, we got our start by actually Glenn and I was frequenting another local microbrewery in the area, and they'd been around for quite a while and had quite a nice following, and they made very nice beer. And we kept looking at each other for several months saying, we can do this. And so we went and got some equipment. Glenn had some already. I went and bought some more, and we did our first batch of extract in Glenn's garage, and didn't know what was going to happen. And, you know, it was a couple weeks later, we tasted it, and it was actually pretty damn good. So we drank that up in a short period of time, and we decided to try it again. And that second batch we made was, let's say, god-awful. It was miserable. It was disgusting. And just didn't turn out quite right. And so we did a little bit of research online and read some more and started learning about, things like temperature control and timing and fermentation, that type of thing. And then we were sitting around, I think it was in my garage one day, and I basically kind of looked at everybody and said, are you in, or are you out? And it was Glenn and I, and then a couple of other friends were sitting there, and we basically said we're in, and went and bought a system, just a small little 10-gallon system, but it was a premium 10-gallon system. And started brewing in my garage on a fairly regular basis. And what you learn when you actually use the right temperature and follow instructions and, ferment things out at the right temperature as well, that you can make some pretty damn good beer. We were targeting Manny's Pale Ale to start with. That was such a popular beer at the time. Mm-hmm. And everybody seemed to really like what we were producing. And in fact, so much that people wanted to take beer home with them in bottles, and we were bottling it up, and we could barely keep that on the go. And then we decided to get a bigger system. We went to a 1-barrel system, still brewing in my garage, just kind of having fun. And we actually tried to get my house licensed to serve beer out of our garage, and the county told us that we couldn't do that. So then we I just kind of looked at each other one day, and same thing, are you in or you're out? And Glenn actually went and found a place. It was the old Riverside Tavern, and owned by the cannery, and we went and talked to them a couple of times, and I joined the conversation, and lo and behold, we had a place, and applied for all our permits, and we were off and running.
So originally, when you went and bought the first 10-gallon equipment, was the goal to start a brewery, or was it to home brew?
I think we probably always had this dream of someday being in the business of owning a brewery. But I think with that 10-gallon system was probably more of just being more legitimate, because prior to that, the stuff that we had was, you barbecue on you cook it on the barbecue, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just buying that 10-gallon system kind of legitimized our production opportunities and capabilities. And like Craig said, once we started having friends and family saying, "Hey, this isn't too bad. You might want to do more of this." That's what prompted us to get that second unit. And once we did that, I think we were probably looking with the eye of, now we need to find a place. So I guess, at the very beginning, we were just garage brewing, and we did that for a while. But the long-term plan was to get going.
Okay. So did you ever, did you ever make that beer that was close to Manny's Pale Ale?
Oh, I think we did. Yeah, it was pretty damn good. And in fact, we did a couple of even blind taste tests, and half the people liked their beer and half the people liked our beer. And so I guess the beauty of that is, just so many different flavor profiles out there, but it was certainly acceptable and well received.
Yeah, definitely. So you opened in 2014, right?
Yeah, the end of 2014, I guess.
August of 2014.
Okay. So how long before that were you brewing at home?
It was a couple of years.
Yeah, because we took possession of the pub in February of 2014. So we were well on our way by that point of trying to fine tune our brew processes, and we had the bigger equipment by then. So probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years prior.
Okay. How many batches do you think you brewed?
A bunch, but around it was more than in my garage. It was well over 40 batches at least, so probably even more than that.
So, what kind of beers did you guys decide that you were going to open with?
Well, we had we decided on the standards. We had the pale, the IPA, had a porter, had an amber. We have blonde then, Craig?
Yeah.
So that's 5. What am I missing?
Well, then even in the beginning, we were also experimenting a little bit with different flavor profiles. So I think we even opened with a banana peach ale. It was summertime, and there was fresh peaches available. And so we used fresh peaches and fresh banana to make that beer.
Nice. Sounds interesting.
That was probably about it when we opened.
Mm-hmm. So you keep the same standards, I'm assuming, to this day.
Right.
And
yeah, we have all of those now. Although the banana peach is only a seasonal beer.
Mm-hmm.
We have ongoing now a coconut porter all the time.
Oh yeah.
We have a jalapeno all the time. We have added our own root beer, non-alcoholic.
Nice.
We have our porter on nitrogen also, so you can get it regular or nitrogen. And then we mess around with a variety of different others. We've done a pumpkin. We've done red rye. We've, a variety of others as well.
So when somebody, I'm sorry, I was going to say when someone comes in, then what if they're not normally a craft beer drinker? What do you guys steer them towards?
Well, we do one guest tap of a lager, and so that tends to be the if they don't like craft beers, they might like something that's going to be like a Coors Light, and that tends to be like a lager.
Right.
Although if it's someone that at least is willing to have some adventure, our Honey Hibiscus Blonde is a sweeter beer, so it almost has that profile of more like a wine cooler, perhaps, but
okay.
It's certainly a sweeter one. The coconut porter usually is something that will get somebody's attention. So we have a couple options for someone that at least is willing to try one.
Okay, yeah, that's I guess talking to different people, sometimes it depends if they like wine or if they like if they're willing to try a dark beer or sweet or whatever it is.
Right.
So, yeah, because we have people that come in that will never that they'll say right at the first things out of their mouth, I don't like dark beers, and I love the challenge, and I always tease a lot of the women, of course, with their husbands there, and say I'm going to switch them to black, because once they try the coconut porter, I'm willing to bet that 80 to 90% of the women that try that who say they don't like a dark beer fall in love with it. I mean. And so that's truly one of our standards and a very popular item. And in fact, when we opened when we started brewing that and having it on tap on a regular basis, customers used to get mad at us because we would not sell that in growlers in any shape or form.
Wow.
Just because we were small batching this stuff, it's an expensive product, and we were still somewhat experimenting with it, and customers would actually get mad. Are you kidding me? And, that type of thing. And so it was pretty funny.
So obviously it was a popular, and still is a popular beer then.
Yeah,
it's our number 2 selling beer behind our IPA.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, considering, porter, okay, but a coconut porter too. That's definitely interesting.
I can't tell you how many times we're there, and in a couple will walk and, it's like, hey, so what are we doing today? And the woman will just go, I know what I want. It's coconut porter. There's no discussion. There's no, so even if they've never been in before and they've talked to their buddies, the word in the area is like, you want a good one. That's certainly a good beer. So. Well,
that's good. That's good that you've got
that.
Been
a fun following.
Yeah, definitely. Has up to this point, has the brewery grown the way you expected it?
Well, we've shown steady growth, which, to answer your question, yes, I think it's met our expectations. It's growing at a pace that we're comfortable with, not too fast, not too slow. We've learned a bunch of stuff along the way about things that we continue to fine tune as to, like adding ciders, for instance. Last summer we added ciders once the liquor laws changed, and that helped us. And we're in the process of thinking about adding some other items, getting food trucks to come along and be there. We've got that on Friday nights, but now it's time to expand that to other nights of the week as well. And so all of those things just lead to more people coming through the doors. But as all of us still have our day jobs, we need to be cautious about how we grow, so that it doesn't overwhelm us too.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to ask about the day job. So you're all still working many hours then, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got to be a challenge to continue to try and grow a business like this. It's not a little backyard business that's open to the public and try and maintain a full-time job at the same time.
That is
true. But we knew that, and we knew that going in. I mean, it's not it was a pretty frank discussion we had in the beginning about, time, and that everybody is going to keep their regular jobs and everybody needs to put in a certain amount of time, and, and treat it, when we opened up, it no longer became a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It was, a legitimate business. And we, like Glenn said, we've learned over the last year and a half some excellent tools to keep going.
So what size system are you brewing on now?
Well, that's a trick question. The reason I say that is we're brewing we have our 1-barrel system still, and at any given time we'd have 10 to 12 of our own beers on tap. And so it was a lot of, thank goodness we had 6 fermenters going at different times, and double batching and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm experimenting on a 4-barrel system.
Oh, okay.
That we have brewed 3 times on now, and each batch of that beer has turned out really well. And again, here goes that learning process where now we need to buy more kegs because we're not kegging a couple of kegs at a time. We're kegging, potentially 8 to 9 kegs at a time.
Right. Have you found making the recipes for the larger system difficult the first time you're going through trying to do that?
I don't think it was the recipes that were difficult. The very first batch was a learning process as far as, the mash tun doesn't have a direct fire, and so we had to bring the temperature of the water in at the correct temperature, and we didn't, so we had to fire it up to a boil tank and bring it back down at the right temperature and then let it mash from there. And the second and third time we did it, since we learned that, brought the water in at the right temperature and didn't have any issues at all. In fact, the porter that's on tap now is from that second 4-barrel batch, and it turned out marvelous. And we've got a blonde in a fermenter right now. We'll be doing an IPA next week on the 4-barrel as well.
So who does the brewing? Is there one primary brewer, or do you rotate, or how's that work?
Craig does the majority of it, and then the rest of us kind of be helper bees, if you will. Okay. But Craig's kind of taken that bull by the horns and run with it.
So is it mainly weekend that you're doing that, or are you doing it at night? How's that working out?
Whenever there's time in this schedule. So, I'll have a 3-day weekend sometimes. So I'll brew on a Friday and a Saturday morning. Sometimes it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that type of thing. And sometimes in the evenings as well. I mean, it's just dependent upon the schedule and the necessity of getting beer in the fermenter.
Okay. So have you done any water treatment or anything like that, or is the water you get the way you want it?
We're actually using a water filter to take out some of the chlorine.
Any styles that you haven't done yet that you'd be interested in doing?
Yeah, we basically brewed ales, and we've had a lot of fun with that, and we've had success with that as well. I haven't done any Belgians at all, and so that's a style that I want to get into. Then there's a particular recipe that I've been drinking a few of them and I really like, so I've never done a Scotch ale, so that's a product that is on the drawing board. But it's difficult when we have, we have 34 active recipes that we're rotating in and out, and of course some of those are seasonal and whatnot, but still, it's difficult to think about brewing too many other beers when you're on a smaller system and you have to keep beer in stock, your standards in stock.
Right. So, going to that then, do you have any distribution, or is everything sold through your tap room?
We consume everything that we make.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you got working on a bigger system, would you look at any distribution, or you just want to stay the course for now?
I think we have aspirations to get into some level of distribution. Not really knowing what that is at this point, though. But we've certainly had a handful of the local pub, taverns, restaurants ask us if we would support them with kegs. So we know that there's a market for us. Our name's got out enough where at least the people within, say, 20, 25 miles of us know who we are and wouldn't mind carrying our beer. So we know that there's an opportunity there. But first and foremost, we want to just make sure that our place is full as much as possible, and that we're able to keep the tap handles we have occupied and not empty. And that's no easy task. Craig's throwing a dart onto the wall to see what we're going to sell out of this week, and so that he can go and work his magic to create more. And it's always a moving target. So, so for now, I think we're happy with just supporting ourselves. And, with the eye on the future, if we brew exclusively on that bigger system, that might allow us to put a few kegs out. And who knows what the future brings as far as being able to expand into bigger equipment from there as well. Okay.
All right. And when you guys aren't sitting in your own tap room or drinking your own beer, what do you like to drink?
Everybody else's.
Just anybody. Do you have a specific styles you like?
Well, I am certainly an IPA guy. I mean, always have liked IPAs, and I love experimenting with different hops, and so it's always fun to go to a different tasting room and try other people's IPAs and the use, what they're doing, and then I find out if they're dry hopping, double dry hopping, what they're doing. So I always like that. But where was I? It was I was just down in Eugene, Oregon, and then Causes down there, and they had a red. They called it an IRA, so an Indian red ale, and that was spot on delicious. So yeah, I'm pretty wide open. I love barrel aged stuff. We do a couple barrel aged beers ourselves, and I certainly love experimenting with them when I'm out and about.
How about you, Glenn?
And it's kind of funny because when both Craig and I travel for our jobs, and whenever we're somewhere else, it's not uncommon for one of us to get a text message with a picture of somebody's sampler. It's like, aha! Mm-hmm. I found Bob's Tavern, and here's what I'm tasting tonight, and we have a lot of fun with that. And to the barrel age thing, we actually just debuted one last weekend. We had a blonde that's been sitting in a wine barrel for a year from a little local winery that we know, and so we actually debuted it at the winery Friday night.
Oh, nice.
And Craig and I went up there and poured, and we had an absolute ball. The between the beer people that showed up because of our promotions and the winery promoting from their side, it was a great mix of people, and great reception as well. So that's the stuff that makes this fun, is when you get to interact with your customer in an environment like that, where it's just a tasting and a kind of a party, if you will.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be pretty good too, that blonde in the wine barrel.
Yeah, it actually is. Being Glenn referred to a honey hibiscus blonde. I brewed that beer in September of 2014, right after we had opened, because the Come Walk With Me, which is a breast cancer walk, starts and ends in our parking lot
cool.
of ours in the old cannery's parking lot. So I wanted to do a pink beer, and so I experimented with beets and different forms of grape juice and whatnot, and came up with hibiscus. And we just did it, brewed that particular 10 gallons for just that event. Well, we sold that out basically that day, and it was very well received. So that's something that we keep on tap now on a regular basis, but it is pink. Mm-hmm. And so when we put the blonde into a Merlot barrel, I mean, you can just see the red stains in the barrel and, you know, how it's spilt out on top. And so I'm hoping for a little color exchange, and absolutely nothing happened. So that was a learning process for me. I mean, we certainly got the oak. We certainly got the nice wine flavor, some interesting spices that came through, but no color. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's all every time learning something else, doing things like that. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us today. We definitely appreciate it. Thanks to Glenn and Craig from Lake Tapps for joining us today. We will be right back after a local music break from Silver Torches.
That night you locked me out on the street, I was rueful and anxious. Went stumbling along with a buck in my palm to tip some bartender thankless. Mumbling drunk through a sea of words, I was searching for a purpose. The night was alive and young, but the air still burned like a furnace.
silvertorches.bandcamp.com. If you want to have your music played on Northwest Brew Talk, contact us today. And now let's try another beer. This time we have Mocha Death from Iron Horse. Iron Horse is located in Ellensburg. Their pub is open 7 days a week, and you can listen to our interview with Jared on episode 25. Make sure you check that out. And straight from their website, Mocha Death. For this seasonal offering, we started with Irish Death, our dark smooth ale that presents a full malt flavor laced with caramel, chocolate, dark fruit, and a touch of sweetness. To this heavenly ale, we added fresh, locally roasted espresso beans and pure cocoa. The result is a bit of confusion. Should this go in my coffee mug or in my pint glass? Answer: both. This beer is upfront with enormous coffee aroma, with the cocoa playing the sideline until the taste. Lacking bitterness, the flavor comes forward with a rounded balance of coffee blending gracefully with the creamy malt body and soft cocoa flavors. Dark beer, chocolate, and coffee. You're welcome. ABV and an untapped rating of 3.86.
All right. Dark beer, not black. You can see through it. Or not see through it, but you can see some light through it.
Smells good, though.
Yes, it does have all those flavors. You can smell the coffee and chocolate. Nice thick head on it.
And it tastes good.
You can definitely, especially after you drink it, taste that coffee.
Mm-hmm. Well, you taste the coffee right up front, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And Irish Death is one, if not the number one selling beer on draft.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that's
what
beer
you told us.
in the state. Yeah, so this is a nice twist. And this is a seasonal. Is that what it was?
Yep, seasonal.
Nice. Not my favorite kind of beer, but this has a nice flavor to it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it is my favorite kind of beer.
Oh, I know it's yours, and you'll be drinking it as you pour another glass here.
I want you to give me fresh beer. You serious? Now!
And now on to our fresh beer. This week, we have a March release, Vitis Biricus at Fish Brewing. 49% Riesling must from Silver Lake Wines, combined with 51% Beyond the Pale Wort, 8.5% ABV, and 50 IBUs.
Interesting sounding beer.
Yeah, definitely want to try that one.
Yeah, I do like I do like those ones that are mixed with wine.
Yeah, so far all the ones we've tried, 2 or 3 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've liked all of them though.
Yeah, like in Merlot barrels or something. We did a couple of nice interviews over the weekend that'll be coming up with Wander and Kulshin from Bellingham. And we tasted one of Wander's that
Chardonnay barrel.
Yeah, it wasn't even out yet. It was still in the tank. But
it was good.
Yeah, it was a good one. And a sour too that they have on tap. But yeah, you know what that leads to though? That leads to the end of this episode of Northwest Brew Talk.
Make sure you tune in next week when we chat with a special guest as a part of a new segment. Check out next week for more details.
The show is produced and edited by me with engineering help from Michelle Rizzo.
And if you want to contact us, you can email us at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at nwbrewtalk. Our theme music is from Gilbert Neal at gilbertneal.com.
Until next time, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
Stay hoppy, my friends. Owner told me, oh my God. On March 26th, you can stop by Whiskey Ridge Brewing in Arlington as they... Did I say
Whiskey Ridge?
Whiskey Ridge. Whiskey Ridge, boy. I thought so.